Good afternoon, everyone. So happy to see you on this beautiful spring day. Our topic today is keeping your peace in a changing world. A very big challenge in a world going through dramatic change. So I'll just speak a little while, and then we can have a discussion about this. In thinking about this topic, 3 words came to mind: faith, understanding, and practice. If we have total faith in a loving, merciful, higher power, total faith in the innate goodness of the universe, no matter what unfolds, that faith will enable us to maintain our peace. The ancient Hindu scriptures say, not even an atom moves without the will of God. This brings into question, though, why would an all-loving, all-merciful, all-powerful, divine force permit what we see in the world? In particular, I think an eternal question for humanity is, why do bad things happen to good people? And how to reconcile that with the idea of an all-knowing, all-powerful, beneficent, loving force in the universe. So if we have that perfect faith, even in the face of such a mystery, then no matter what unfolds, we can stay rooted in that faith. The benefit is we keep our peace, we keep our balance, and we face whatever unfolds with equanimity. But even for sincere and earnest seekers, for devoted yogis, it's very, very challenging to keep up that unquestionable faith in difficult times, such as what we are all experiencing today in the global community. And that's when the next concept comes in, understanding. For me, when faced with difficult situations, what is most helpful is to have an inner container to hold the experience in a way that gives it context and makes sense for me. In that regard, as yogis, we have the theory of karma. Even as I express it, I want to be very clear that when someone is undergoing suffering, the last thing they want to hear, and the last thing we should want to say is, well, it's just karma unfolding. In general, that is not very comforting and supportive for people to hear when they themselves are faced with unthinkable suffering. But it can be useful for us as a way to understand what is unfolding so we can keep our peace and then be of service and support. Simply put, the law of karma states for every action, there's a reaction, similar in nature and of equal force. The South Indian saint Avayar used to say, the pleasure and pain we experience in life is not really given to us by someone else. We ourselves are the cause. So what does that mean? It means that sometime, somewhere, somehow, we ourselves did something that is involving us in what we're experiencing in the moment. This is true both on a personal level, a national level, and a global level. What we see in the world is none other than our collective, cumulative result of all our past actions. It's as if forces that were set in motion years, if not eons ago, are converging now in a very dynamic way, resulting in what we are seeing. There was a great saint that Swami Satchidananda sometimes quoted, who said, "Why worry about anything? It has all been decided long, long ago. What has to happen is going to happen." There's a Chinese proverb that says, worry is like a blind man walking in a dark alley looking for a black cat that never existed. And the author Kurt Vonnegut once said about worry, it's as useful as chewing bubble gum to solve an algebraic equation. There is no benefit to come from it. So, karma, it unfolds on every plane of existence, personal, national, global, physical, and mental. On a personal level, Swami Shivananda used to say, someone who is very charitable in one life, in a subsequent lifetime, is very wealthy. Someone who does a lot of service to humanity later becomes a great leader. People who do virtuous deeds, the result is they are born in good environments. So there's a cause and effect relationship. How is this helpful? For me, it's helpful in that it helps me to keep my peace by accepting that the story and trajectory of every individual soul is vast, much greater than what we are seeing in the present moment. Maybe forces set in motion in the past are now being addressed now, in very difficult and painful ways. But what is also true, the other side of that, is the way we respond, what we hold in our hearts as we take right action will determine what unfolds in our lives in the future. The doctrine of karma is not fatalistic. Properly understood, it's the ultimate doctrine of self-empowerment. Self-empowerment. We are in charge of our future destiny, even in the face of sometimes feeling helpless in the moment, personally or in what we can do for others. Another way of understanding that can help us retain our peace comes from the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, we see two opposing armies on a battlefield. And interestingly, they represent a family divided. They're not even strangers to one another. They know one another intimately. But due to forces of greed, due to the wish for unbridled power, they are brought to the field of Kurukshetra to face a great battle in which many great and noble souls are lost. And Arjuna, who was a great warrior king, by dint of his role in society, was called to fight in that battle. We're talking about someone who was a warrior king, who, according to the Indian lore, actually went up and fought against Lord Shiva himself at one point in order to obtain divine weapons. So someone of that strength and valor and magnitude, faced with this battle, collapsed on the battlefield before it began and said, I can't face this. I can't bear it. I can't deal with it. And the person who was his charioteer in the battle was none other than Lord Krishna himself. And in the midst of the battle, Krishna began to instruct him. And his instruction took two forms. One was to impart proper understanding, which was followed with how to pursue right action. And he spoke about the nature of the self, the spirit, the unchanging, stable, unifying force and essence of all creation that is always balanced, peaceful, neutral, and a source of light and wisdom. He said, that is the essence of who you are and who everyone engaged in this battle is. That is who we are in truth. And no matter what unfolds, no matter how great the tragedy and the suffering that we may have to unfold, know that this will never be destroyed. The Gita says, fire cannot cut it. Fire cannot burn it. Weapons cannot cut it. Water cannot wet it. It's indestructible. And in essence, That is who we all are. If we have that understanding, even if we don't have that experience at this time in our development, it can help gird us with peace as we face challenges, both personal and global. With that understanding, Krishna then gives him the second piece of advice. Get up and do your duty. In this case, for Arjuna, it was to fight, but not with anger, not with hatred, not with vengeance in your heart, but with understanding as a force of righteousness. Do your duty. And in that regard, we all have a role to play. We may not be in a position to influence government decisions or to influence corporate policies. Rather than feeling hopeless, despair, or anger about things we can't influence, that we can't change, we can turn our attention to what we and we alone can change and do. We are the only ones who can change ourselves. We're the only ones who can play our designated role on the world stage. And what we do affects others in visible and invisible ways. Swami Shivananda used to say, a pure, noble thought vibrates every atom of the universe forever. It keeps on vibrating. And in so doing, it continues to strengthen and support and uplift all souls everywhere, seeking that strength and support. So we can do our part by our thoughts, by our words, by our deeds, in our families, at our jobs, in our communities, and set those forces in motion. Can you show that little cartoon? Someone sent this to me at the beginning of the year, and I really liked it. Can you see it, everyone? Everyone see it? Okay, take it off, please. You get the point? Plant flowers in the form of loving kindness, helpfulness, service, keeping your spirit filled with positivity. You may not be able to directly relieve large-scale suffering that is happening, but maybe your neighbor needs a little help. Relieve their suffering. There's a phrase, carpe diem, seize the day. No matter how great, how brilliant, how powerful anyone is, when we get up in the morning, we all have the exact same 24 hours to fill. Even if you're the richest person in the universe, you can't buy more time. We all have 24 hours. We're all supported by the same breath. Average person breathes 15 times a minute. If you multiply it out, it's 21,600 times a day. 21,600 times, the universe sends the breath of life back into our lungs, filling us with the power, the energy to play our role. It's like the universe is saying, come on, go for it. You have potential. Even if you don't have faith in me, I have faith in you. Do what you can on the world stage, in the little corner of it in which you have been placed to do your part. So that's understanding. And the third part, practice. You're all yogis. You know the tried and true way to become established in peace and ultimately experience perfect peace. That spirit within you is through daily practice, through your prayer, through your meditation, through everything you do to center and uplift your spirit, and doing it every day on a regular basis to keep up that momentum so that energy, that vibration will always be moving, percolating within you. That is the best and most trusted formula for keeping and maintaining your peace. You do it all the time, and then you have it as a defining part of your nature and personality when tests come. That centering, that meditation, that prayer can bolster your faith. It can help you develop that witnessing aspect within you that closely resembles the nature of that essential divine spirit. It can help steady you in times of stress or crisis. As Swami Satchidananda used to say, you get a surfboard. It's as if you have a surfboard that you can use to surf over whatever waves come, big and small. So keeping your peace in a changing world, faith, to whatever degree you have it, faith in the divine, faith in one another, faith in the practices, faith in the ultimate goodness of the universe, faith in your own capacity to do your best, that can help you during these times. Proper understanding of the karmic law, which is the great law of causation, operational on every level, physical, mental, personal, and global, enables us to have a broader understanding of what is unfolding so we can find some balance, peace, and perspective. And understanding that spirit within each and every one of us is indestructible, beautiful, light-filled, always. And serving as best we can and practicing as best we can. Finding the peace within, and then as we move through life, choosing peace, choosing kindness, choosing love in all our interactions. Learning how to respond skillfully rather than habitually reacting. That is what yoga has to offer with respect to keeping our peace in a changing world. So, having said all that, anyone have any questions?